Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be telling you how I'm training to break a sub 40-minute 10k for the first time ever. So yes, I have never run a sub 40-minute 10k yet. However, I got incredibly close in my London Triathlon run, which was after both the swim and the bike. A little link to that video just up there. But I believe that I really can break a 40-minute 10k and I've got a race coming up to do it. So I'm going to be racing the London Summer 10k on the 5th of September, which is about 2.5 weeks now. So obviously I've been training for this for a while because the run within a triathlon, at least at the Olympic distance, is 10k. But I'm really ramping up my run training over the few weeks in between the London Triathlon, which is the start of this month, and my race at the start of September. There are two main ways in which I'm trying to change and improve my training when it comes to focusing on running and trying to break that mythical sub 40-minute 10k mark. First off is the amount of running that I normally do. On an average triathlon training week, I'm normally running between 45 and 55k per week, which is definitely a significant amount of running, but I do feel like you need to amp that up a little bit when training to break a specific time in the run, especially something such as a 40-minute 10k. Running is one of the sports where if you do it more, you get better. It's that simple. You can't reasonably be expecting that you're going to be able to run 20 or 30k a week and still improve and aim for something like a 40-minute 10k. Running really does require you to put in the work. Run regularly, run long enough so that you're almost breaking that 10k barrier each time, outdistancing it on the long runs. All of these kind of things will really improve your running so significantly. So for me, I'm aiming to scale back one bike workout less per week and increase my running up to about 70k for these 3 weeks before my 10k race. Now, obviously, be careful with how much you run. Generally try and follow the 10% rule, that is not increasing the distance that you're running by more than 10% each week. However, I'm an extremely experienced athlete and therefore I feel like increasing going from 55 to 70 kilometers is an amount of increase that my body can deal with. I've done 70, 80 kilometer weeks before, going from 55 to 60 the week before, so I know that my body can handle this. But if this isn't something you are doing regularly, build up to it slowly, but do increase. Add 5k each week. One of the easiest ways of adding distance is by adding a small bit onto each run. If you're running 5 times a week, add 1k onto each run. If you're running more than that per week, add more to each individual run or add less to each individual run. Split it out, or if you're only running 2, 3, maybe even 4 times a week, adding a separate run that's a little bit shorter to make up that distance and then building that run up as well, so that you're going from 4 runs to 4 runs and a short run that's 3 or 4k, adding a couple of k to that the week after, and so on and so on. Might be an excellent way, but it really depends how much previous running experience you've had. And the second major way in which that I'm trying to train myself to be able to beat that 40-minute 10k mark is by the types of workouts that I'm doing. Generally, when it comes to triathlon training, it really is mostly in that tempo zone. You can't afford to be pushing to threshold and past threshold once you've already done the swim and the bike. So being really comfortable, working hard while being somewhat comfortable in that area of tempo is really important, and that's what I focus on a lot when it comes to my triathlon run. However, doing a 10k by itself is almost completely different because you don't have that level of fatigue that you're bringing into it as long as you rest properly before. This means that within the race, to break that sub 40-minute mark, you might be pushing threshold or even higher depending on your level of fitness. And so my training is now becoming more focused on threshold and anaerobic work rather than that tempo to threshold kind of zone. To give you some examples of the workouts that I'm using right now to improve my 10k time, the first one is that threshold session. This is super classic when it comes to pure run training. A great starting place in this workout is 4 by 6 minutes at your threshold pace or heart rate, depending on how you work. Between each rep, take about half of the time that you've spent at threshold in a rest, recovery, aim to easy jog, as that will make the workout more valuable rather than just stopping, and repeat. And it's really about consistency in these ones. You want to be consistently pushing to that threshold pace quickly at the start of each interval and maintaining it throughout the whole one. These workouts will be uncomfortable. There's no way about it, but these ones are the ones that will really improve your 10K time, because that's the effort you're going to be pushing, especially in the second half of the run. Even if you're not planning on running faster than your threshold pace, it's still important to train above it. Getting comfortable running really fast will make those more moderate paces around threshold feel significantly more comfortable, as they're not half as hard as what you were doing before. For this reason, I often put in some 5K race pace intervals into my 10K training plan. That might look like 400, 600 or maybe 800 meter repeats, either in a local park or on the track at that 5K anaerobic pace. With a little bit of warm up and roughly a 1-to-1 recovery in between intervals, you can look to do 6 to 8 to 10 of these repeats, depending on how you feel. However, if you're not hitting those times by the later ones, it's often better to cut your losses, as even if you're not hitting the times, the amount of effort these repeats take isn't worth the benefit if you're not hitting the times and the paces that you want to. Over time, you can increase the pace at which you're doing both the threshold intervals and the anaerobic 5K type intervals. And what you're looking for is your heart rate to stay roughly the same as the pace increases. This shows you're getting fitter and you're more likely to be able to hold that 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes per K pace on race day. By increasing the volume you run each week and focusing on those threshold and those 5K or anaerobic type efforts, you'll be preparing yourself as best as you can for race day. And that's how I'll be preparing myself. So if you're interested to see how I do in just a couple of weeks' time, please consider hitting subscribe to this channel, like this video if you found it useful, and stay tuned because I'll be telling you exactly how my race day went and how my final triathlon just 2 weeks after that will go. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next one.